Hi, I'm the Craftorialist and I'm going to show you how to cross stitch into the linen stitch knit fabric. Now each stitch has a shape. It's either an inverted triangle or a V with a little bar across the bottom, and you'll need to learn how to recognise these shapes. Each of these shapes goes one after the other, so you'll have a triangle followed by the V, followed by the triangle, followed by the V. If you can imagine them in a grid formation, you will be cross-stitching across each shape, each stitch, as you go along. So we're going to form our first stitch now, and if you look closely at the stitch shapes, you'll see the inverted triangle there, and that's your first stitch shape. And if you imagine that inside a little square, you're going to go from one corner to the opposite diagonal corner and pull that through, and then you'll find the next upper corner and go across to that diagonal. Now we're going to form the second stitch, and you'll see that the shape of the second one is the V with the bar at the bottom, and you'll find the upper corner of that and stitch into it. Form the first part of the cross. The edge that is abutting the first stitch will basically be going into the same hole. So then we'll form the second part of the cross. Again, it's coming up from the same hole as the first stitch. Make sure you don't catch the tail of your yarn underneath. In fact, it's quite a good idea to weave that in as soon as you can, because they can get in the way a little bit. So that's stitch number 2. On for stitch number 3, which will be the inverted triangle, and you just carry on as before. Sometimes if you pull the thread a little bit too tight, it's good to just double check that as you go along and adjust it. If you're working on the tiger cowl, the knitting is actually on its side. So here's some footage of what that looks like, and the shape of the stitches will obviously be on their side. So the V is more like a little arrow butting into a wall, and the inverted triangle is turned on its side. Here I need to count back along the row 3 stitches, so I'm going the V shape on its side obviously, and then the triangle, and then the V to get to the stitch that I want to cover with the cross. As you stitch, make sure that the first part of each cross is always in the same direction as the others, and the second part is also in the same direction. So you may be going from bottom to top, left to right for the first part, and from top to bottom, left to right for the second part. That way each stitch will then have a uniform appearance. As I said, it's always good to weave in your ends as you go. That way you don't get yourself all tangled up as I did. So here am I weaving in my ends after the fact. But it is a good idea, because it can be a real pain to have a big tangle at the back. If you're making the Ron tiger top, here's a little detail of how the tiger's going to look on that knitting. And if you're making the tiger cowl, here's how that looks. Happy stitching!